Arsenal Fan TV. So Ozil's first year in the Premier League, how do you think he's gone?
I think he's done pretty well. I mean, I'm feeling for him actually because he's in a really tough period at the moment. You got to think back on how much he's actually helped us in the season already, how many assists he's given us. And if you want to be a good football player, the fans love it if you fight for it and dig in, because that's what it's about. I mean, the blokes that are giving him a hard time, you just got to ignore it. Everyone has a rough time, but he's just got to come back stronger than he was before.
I think it's a lot of pressure on a player that has just come from a club where he wasn't the main man. Cristiano Ronaldo was really the main focus of the Real Madrid side. If he wasn't performing well, then that was what the main focus was on. And now that Ozil has come from that sort of environment to Arsenal, where he's our star player, and he's meant to perform like we were expecting him to perform. And when he doesn't perform week in, week out, I think we're criticising him a little bit too easily. But then again, he has, Arsene has played him so constantly that you got to expect a player to kind of burn out after a little while.
I think, as he said, he's come from Real Madrid where he was able to blend in and just disappear for games. And I think now there's a lot more focus because we don't have a lot of players of that, star power at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just got to adjust to that. He's got to adjust to that, a little bit more pressure in games, knowing that, if he's maybe not performing as well, that other players around him might sort of drop as well, if his performance isn't quite there. But yeah, I think even just getting in touch with the English game, it's just going to take him that season. Like Giroud last season, he didn't really have the best of seasons. Then at the beginning of this season, he was right on top of it, and he's been a great asset to our team this season. So hopefully he follows in his footsteps.
Ozil, I reckon people are giving him a doubt. He's a really good player. It's just, I think he's got to find his time and form in the EPL. The English Premier League is a lot stronger than the La Liga, and I reckon in time he'll actually pick up big time. But it's going to take him time, and hopefully when he gets used to the team, he can provide something better.
It's Ozil's first season, so we can't really judge him much. He's a world-class player. Any team would love to have an Ozil-type player in their team.
Whether or not we win or lose this season, Ozil's a game changer for us. He's a game changer for Arsenal. Finally, we have that player. We have that superstar player, and there's only more to follow.
We expected a lot. Most of the Arsenal fans expected a lot from Ozil when he came in. £42.5 million signing. But I knew, having watched Ozil in a lot of games, he's the type of player that needs movement around him. He's not that player he's not the Cesc Fabregas type of player that will split an opponent, split the defenders apart with that pass, but he needs good movement around him. So I knew that he'd need time to get used to the rigours of the Premier League, in terms of its physicality, its pace, things like that. We've already seen his passing movements. His passes are brilliant, but I reckon once he gets used to the pace of the Premier League, next season, I reckon he'll be fantastic.
Well, I think he's a sort of player whose form will dip. He'll be in and out of games. I see Ozil more as a supplier of goals more than a scorer. Hopefully we all do, but a lot of people obviously want him to score, being the big name, big money and all that sort of thing. In a way, I think it's good that we've got someone like that, because if we give him a bit of time and he gets a bit of confidence up, he quite possibly could be a leader between the midfielder and the attack.
Mesut Ozil. A lot of expectations when he came in, obviously with a price tag like that. However, I don't like to single out individual players when the team's not performing, because football is a team sport. So I think a lot of the criticism, he cops a lot of criticism from the English media as it is. So I think we as Arsenal fans need to just support him and help him get his confidence back. The main problem, I think, in his drop in form is the players surrounding him. We haven't been playing with true wingers. Theo Walcott's been out. We've been playing Cazorla or Ziski on the wings. He needs players with a lot of pace on the wings that make those runs, the diagonal runs. He looks for that killer ball all the time. So without those players, that's why his play looks a little one-dimensional, you might say. He's still adjusting to the Premier League physically. He's a big guy. He doesn't look it, but he's a big guy. But I think every player still takes that. Giroud took one season to adjust fully. and he's still getting better.
I mean, he's coming from Real Madrid. He was surrounded by Ronaldo, Di Maria, players, of that sort of calibre. I'm not saying that our players aren't great, but it's just it's obviously going to take a bit of time for him to adjust to his surroundings. As Adam said, we're missing true wingers at the moment. Walcott's obviously been injured as well, so that hasn't helped us. So it's just been difficult for him to sort of provide when we're lacking that sort of quality in the team.
I think first season it's not a bad tally so far for him,
definitely.
but I think it's almost like there's a bit too much pressure on the guy. Like in Real Madrid, he could kind of disappear for a while, come back, but he's got Ronaldo banging in the goals, so people don't really take that on board. But Arsenal pay 40-something million for him. Suddenly everyone's like expecting him to score 20 goals. He's not that type of player as well.
Well, he was never a big goal scorer. He was always looking for that pass. Probably a quarter of Ronaldo's goals came from Ozil passes, if not more. Even when he's in the position to score, if there's a guaranteed goal from a pass across the face of the goal, he'll always go for that option. That's the kind of player that he is. But right now, no one's making those runs to get into those positions. So
it just brings up the question that maybe if we had a better forward making the right runs or being in the right position, it might make Ozil look better as well.